So, I get the question all the time in person: why did I choose Prime, and why did I decide to go lease? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, hang on, and see you after the intro. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Cajun Couple Trucking. I'm still in my TNT phase, and I know I'm still trying to get used to looking at the camera because it's way down here, and yeah, it's hard to keep like a straight look because I want to watch myself videoing. Okay, so the reason why I'm recording this ahead of time, I'm going to try to record a few things ahead of time, so I can keep my content going. But we're about to enter into a high vol load. It's pre-planned. Right now I'm in Ohio. It's in the 30s, so I'm in my jacket. It feels colder inside than it does outside for some strange reason. This, let's see, Carl's Jr. Yes, Carl's Jr. For some reason has the AC on instead of the heat. So, the two questions I get the most out of people in person is, why did you choose Prime? And why did you choose lease? Why are you going to go lease instead of company? Well, I figured I'd answer those. I wanted to try to wait till my wife was with me to answer those. But, being I'm about a month out from going to get her, and I needed something to talk about, and haven't gotten a lot of suggestions in the comments, or people texting me, or, asking for content. I decided that's what I'd talk about today. All right, so why did I choose Prime? All right, I used to drive for England back in the 90s. Anybody who knows me, around Christmas of 2000, I got home. My oldest son couldn't take me being gone. Kids miss me. I miss them. I miss my wife. I was out for 6 weeks, come home for 2 to 3 days, go back out for 6 weeks. I loved it, but family comes first. So I stayed home, got a local job, injured my back, one thing led to another. Well, it was always on the back burner. And me and my wife have always said that when the kids got older, we'd see if we could, kind of just, if we had the grandkids every day or every weekend, probably wouldn't be able to do this. And for a while, that's how we had them. But when our youngest one turned 18, we were seeing the grandkids about once every other week. Some of the grandkids we weren't seeing but once every couple of months. So we decided, hey, let's do it. So I started researching companies. First thing, I called England back first because I liked their structure. I liked what they were doing, and they were a good company. I didn't know about all the changes and everything at that point. They told me, they looked at my records. They said they had to pull my physical records because I wasn't there when they digitalized everything. And they were like, hey, when can you get up here? I said, well, let me move a couple of things around. Moved a couple of things around, put in my notice at my job, and I called them. And I said, okay, great. We just need a couple of things. Like, what's your address? And I gave them my address. They said, well, we're not hiring anybody from Louisiana right now. You were saying, come up here, get up here as quick as you can, Well, we're sorry, but we don't have enough freight to get you home. And I told him, I said, I don't want to come home a lot. My son's going to run my quail farm, and me and my wife are going to go out. We're going to stay out for 3, 4, 5, 6 months at a time, then come home for about a week and then go back out, which we'll get to a little bit later in this video. And so they basically say we can't make any exceptions. So I started looking for other companies. Yes, with my experience, with what I was doing at the time and everything, it kind of just, I didn't really need a lot of training. Well, one thing you should look at, is, the driver retention of the company. Do drivers leave and then come back because they thought they were greener pasture somewhere else, and there's not. or they found out that those greener pastures were full of, dandelions and weeds and stuff. Um, so uh, Swift was out. Night Swift was out because of their training. Their training, they do not set their drivers up to succeed. I mean, whenever you stick someone with a trainer just long enough for them to get their CDL and then put them in a truck and say, go do it, that's not good. So I started looking. It was a toss-up between Wilson and Prime. And I really did like the lease program on the Wilson side a little bit better. But I eventually went with Prime. Now, their training is about the same. Prime is a larger fleet. When I researched them, during the boom in the trucking industry, which Robert Lowe, the owner, thank God, him and his VPs and his salesmen know that the truck industry does this all the time. It ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. Some people would say it's a feast or famine type thing. Either you're making a lot of money or you're not making any money. So while everybody was paying in the spot market $4, $5, $7 a mile, they were out making contracts to secure their freight for whenever it dipped again. So I wanted to run refrigerated. I was running hot shot at the time. I wanted to run refrigerated because I don't like flatbed. And, so the largest fleet, a lot of contracts, that in a lot of options. So I started looking at the lease program because I decided, I'm probably going to go with Prime, but I was thinking about leasing at the time. And their lease program is pretty good. So I decided to come to Prime. I did the PSD, which I'm doing this on my cell phone, people. I don't have my laptop out. So I'm going to try to see if I can link that PSD video at a later time. If I can, it'll either be at the end, or I'm going to try to put it right here. If I'm doing this right. It may never appear here. I'm going to try though, okay? So, I'm also going to set this because I'm not going to be able to make a posting because we can't have a timestamp in a place, a pin. That's why I'm making this early because of the high value load that we're going to be on. I can't have any tracking. So I'm going to record this, and today is the 23rd of April, the day after my 28th wedding anniversary. Hello, baby. Happy anniversary. I know I told you that many times yesterday, but can't wait to hold you. So I'm recording this, and I'm going to have it posted on Saturday. Okay, so we've made the decision to go to Prime, and don't think that I didn't pray over this. I did. I prayed over it. I talked with my wife. We made the conscious decision to go to Prime, even though she's not driving. Okay, so that's why Prime. It was mainly because of the culture that Robert Lowe's built, and I talked to many drivers. Not only the culture, but the freight, stability, the newer equipment. That's what drew me here. And the major factor was the training, because anybody's gonna. Okay, PSD is meant just to help you pass the test, just for the test. Then TNT, where you get your training, is 50,000 miles. Now, if you haven't in 2 months in a trainer's truck, 2 months or more, asked questions, learned your paperwork, learned policies, procedures, read your procedure and policies and procedures booklet that they give you when you get your purple card. If you haven't done those things, then it's on you. You're the one who failed yourself on the training, period. Okay, so little over halfway through TNT training, I'm going to get another 3,000 miles on this load, and we're going to be running as a team. We have a 2-hour window to pick up, which the trailer's already going to be preloaded. It's a drop and hook. And then we have a 15-minute on the delivery side, 15-minute window to drop off. Okay, so we're going to be running like crazy next few days. So, uh, what we're going to do is, you know, we're going to run it like crazy, and then I'll try to make a video afterward, because I'm pretty sure we're going to stop for a day or two afterwards. But if our fleet manager has us, if our fleet manager has us something to do, we're going to head out and do it, because he's anxious to get me my 50,000 miles and get me upgraded, and I'm anxious to be upgraded so I can get home and get my baby, my wife. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Customer 24. Why lease? Okay, there's several reasons why lease. One is the way me and my wife plan on running. Number one, months out at a time, days home. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I've talked to. Ooh, let me fix my hat. Sorry. All right, guys. All right. Yes, I've heard and I've seen, and I'm not going to get in the debate which is better, company or lease purchase or owner operator. If you're leasing, you're not really an owner operator. I'm not going to get into all that, at least not right now. I don't feel like I want to get into that ever, but if it comes time, I'll do it. However, the reason why we chose lease is flexibility, being able to tell them we don't want to go places. Okay, my wife's first ride with me in the hot shot, we went over to George Washington Bridge in New York City 3 times. Okay, and it's stressful enough to go over there once. In the 90s, when I drove for England, they sent me with a 53-foot reefer into downtown Manhattan. Okay, I do not want to go into Yonkers, Manhattan. This hotshot company I work for sent me through Yonkers and Manhattan, and then had the nerve to tell me, after they routed me and told me I had to follow their route, that they routed me around Yonkers and Manhattan. No, you routed me straight through it, down a highway. It says no commercial vehicles. I almost got a ticket over it, and they acted ignorant about it. Like, no, we didn't. So, company, yes, I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are fighting back and forth, and a lot of them, both on the company and on the lease side, saying, oh, this is what's wrong with lease, and this is what's wrong with company, and this is all the lies, and this is all. I have, through research, debunked 90% of what they're arguing back and forth about. Okay? All right? There are insurance on the loads. There is insurance on the loads. If you get in an accident, you don't have to pay for the full amount. You have a deductible. Yes, you can make more money lease than you can company, but you got to look at by the quarter. You can't live paycheck to paycheck. No, you don't have to stay out 6 weeks before you even start making money as a lease op. A lot of these company drivers want you to believe that your first week you're going to be in the negative, and your second week you're going to be in the negative, and the third week you're going to barely start breaking even. The fourth week you're going to if you haven't broke even yet, you'll finally break even. Then the fifth week you're going to do this. Then the sixth week you can start making money. Then you can go home. Then you start back in the hole again. No. If you do what you're supposed to, save your money. Make sure you have the money in the bank to make your fixed costs, your truck payment, your insurance, and stuff like that. Then you can go home. When you come back out, you're not in the hole, and you can make money. No, freight does not work. And please, people, don't watch these videos of these people and believe it. I mean, let's just be really, really, really realistic here. You're a fleet manager, okay? You're trying to make money. You're trying to get your drivers to make money. Why in the world would you, when someone just comes off of home time and needs money, why would you give them the lowest paying routes? Why would you give them the lowest paying, trips? And why would you slowly build them from something that would make, say, $1,000 to getting back up to the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 loads? Why would you do that? It's just going to make someone quit. Okay? Then you're not making money anymore. They're definitely not making money. You know, you're not going to do that. You are not going to start off not making money when you come back from home time. The only thing that's going to hurt you is if you yourself put yourself in a hole because you couldn't afford to go home. You've been spending all your money. And so when you went home for that 1 or 2 weeks, you got in the hole. Now you got to dig yourself out of the hole. You can work with your fleet manager if you're on regular lease and say, hey, you know, on straight lease and say, hey, you know, can we at least get me $500 a week so that I can afford, you know, so I can afford to eat, you know, and they'll probably work with you, but you're still in the hole. Make sure you have the money before you go home to pay for your fixed costs while you're home. Okay. I mean, that's the whole reason why you should pay yourself. Okay. Leave money in the business so that you can pay that. Okay. Now, I chose lease because I've owned a business before. I do my own taxes. I do my own bookkeeping. I do plan on opening a bookkeeping service for truck drivers and other businesses. I do plan on doing that within the first 3 to 6 months of me being solo. Right now, I don't have the time. I have everything set up, but I want to get in my groove, get my wife in her groove before I start doing that, because I am bringing the laptop with me. It's with me now. So I'll be able to do it over the road. And if I can get a couple of my daughters that are sitting, you know, one of my daughters who's sitting at home to help, it's going to help tremendously and, you know, give me a better load and I can pay her. So we'll look into that. We'll see. However, if y'all want, if you are a trucker or you own a small business or you're thinking about trucking or you're thinking about leasing, you're thinking about all this, and you have any questions, feel free to contact me. If you send me a message, I'll send you my personal contact info. I mean, that's not going to hurt me to talk to you about it. Okay, so the way that we want to run it, staying out 3, 4, 6 months at a time, going home for about a week and then coming back out, that is optimal. Not saying that it's the only way to do it. It's optimal. Excuse me. It's optimal for leasing. Being as not because you make a little bit and a little bit more each week until you're making good money and then you go home. No, it doesn't work like that. Once we get into the lane that we want, we're going to stay in that lane as much as possible. I've already been talking to my fleet manager, and I'm going to keep the same fleet manager whenever I transfer into leasing, so that's great. Our thing is we haven't decided. We're going to lease first, and then we're going to decide if we're going to lease purchase or just keep leasing for the second lease. We don't know. We are thinking about trying to get a micro fleet going. So, but the plan with that is, our business plan is to hopefully, until we get up to about 5 trucks, only be paying on 1 truck at a time. Okay. So, and each time we purchase, we want to purchase a brand new truck, and we're going to go according to manufacturer specifications on the preventative maintenance. Okay. Not what anybody else says, you know, oh, you can go 80,000 miles. No, you can't. You know, you're gonna put a lot extra wear and tear on that engine between oil changes if you do 80,000 miles. So leasing is going to be perfect for us, we're hoping. Yes, we're supporting another business at home, the quail farm. We're hoping within about 8 months our son can get it up and running well enough to where between that and rabbits and chickens, that he doesn't have to call us and ask us for feed money or for money for him for gas in the vehicle or money for food, that he can support himself in that way and then keep growing. All right, but that's something we're going to sit down and talk about. But the leasing is going to give us more flexibility. Say we don't want to go into New Jersey, we don't want to go into New York City, we don't want to go into inner Chicago, and that's probably the only three places that I really don't want to go into. And it's only because back in the 90s, I had someone try to hijack my truck in inner city Chicago. I had had bad experience putting a 53-foot reefer in a residential area. Had bad experience putting a 36-foot gooseneck in a residential area. Had bad experiences with low bridges in the New York, New Jersey area, and stuff like that. We don't want to deal with that. And as a lease op, I can say no. Okay. Now, company, what really, really, really turned me off the company is the fact that when I want home time, I could only take 4 days at a time, unless I added vacation or sick day to it. I didn't want to do that. Whenever I go home, right now it's like last year I was home for about 7 days. This year I've only been home for 3 days, and look, we're already at the end of April. I like to go home for about 5 days at a time, 5 days to a week. I go home, I fix things around the house. I go hunting or fishing, then I spend some days with the grandkids. That's what I like to do. Well, what if I want to go to Disney World? What if I want to go hunting buffalo? What if I want to go hunting elk? Stuff like that. I want that flexibility. I want that, my wife, we're in Florida, and she says, hey, I want to go visit my brother. We have this load going to Florida. It's going to take us, 5 days to get there. See what you can do with your fleet manager about us staying about 4 days in Florida. I can do that. I can also, because it's my truck, I'm leasing it. I can also, if we're in Dallas and I want to go home and there's no loads for, my fleet manager saying there's no loads for the weekend, it'll be Monday or Tuesday before I can load you. If I want to, I can go to the house, it's my fuel that I'm paying for. So that is the reason why I decided to go prime and lease. And if you have any questions or any comments, please leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell so you know whenever I post new videos. And, let's grow the channel. I'm trying to be informative. I'm not trying to make any money with this. I'm not trying to make any money with driver code or anything like that. If you do want to join Prime, though, I would appreciate you using my driver code. It's VEIAAN, and I like to try to post that in all the comments, in all the descriptions. Not only that, but if you have any ideas for a video, any ideas of what you want to see, any ideas of what advice that I can give. I have done the trucking before. I've done reefers before. I've done flatbeds. I've done hot shot. I'm not going to say I know everything, but what I don't know, I'll research and talk with people and find out and get with you about it. Now, whenever I start doing my leasing and getting my resolutions and all that good stuff, I'm going to start doing a little bit more in-depth into leasing so that y'all can know, yes, there's a lot of perks to company drivers. And company drivers get cheaper insurance and all that. 401k, get their W-2 employees and all that great stuff. It's just not the way me and my wife wanted to go. We wanted a little bit more money, a little bit more freedom. Now, trying to think, because I did not make notes to do this video like I usually do. I think I've covered just about everything I wanted to cover. So if y'all have any comments, please leave them below. I try to check that daily. And oh, we're still looking for a logo for Cajun Couple Trucking. If anybody can come up with a logo, let us know. Hit us up on our Facebook pages, Anthony Vellion or Samantha Vellion. Hit me here. I'll give you. I'll link our Facebook pages if I can. If I remember to, not if I can, if I remember to. So I'm hitting right about 30 minutes. Well, I'm at 25 minutes, which is right around where I wanted to be. Darn, I can't remember. Yeah, but yes, I'm trying to get back, into my smiling and all. My daughter's sharing videos with me right now. But oh yeah, that's what I want to say. What I tell everybody who will listen, and I've talked to a lot of people who are just coming in doing PSD, both in Pittston and in Springfield, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go company, oh, I'm gonna go lease, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna tell y'all just like I told my daughter. I'm gonna tell y'all just like I told everybody else. Keep your mind open. Okay? The reason being is when people don't keep an open mind, I'm definitely going lease or I'm definitely going company. When you hear something about the other side that really grabs your attention, it really excites you. Like one thing I heard about, I'll give you an example of each. One guy said he was going to lease. Then he found out that company he got paid vacation. He's like, whoa, they pay vacation for company? Well, I'm not gonna. And he just jumped right on the company bus and was not able to objectively look at the fact that he would only be able to be home for 4 days. The main reason why he wanted to go lease was he wanted to spend 2 weeks at home after 2 months of being out. Okay, all he saw was 2 weeks paid vacation. I'm going to go for it. And then you could not stop him from saying, you couldn't explain anything to him. The same way with the other way around. Lease operators, company out here and that lease pays so much more. It doesn't really pay that much more. You're looking at a difference of about $700 a week, if that. And then there's lots of tax things, you got to think about with lease, which we'll go over, in a later video. Whenever I get my own truck and looking at all that. But he heard, a lot more flexibility. And so he jumped on the lease bus, and then he couldn't objectively see. What I tell people is about 85% of the trainers in TNT are lease operators. Okay? Keep your mind open. You have all the info on the company drivers right there in your hand, right before and right after you get that purple badge. Okay, did you read it? Probably not. Okay, however, you have all the information on company right there. Benefits, health, dental, 401k, retirement, everything. Okay? Now you're riding with the lease op. If you're not asking questions, you're not helping yourself. Okay? Keep an open mind. And at the end of TNT, whenever you walk into that upgrade class, that's when you need to decide. That's when you go lease or company. And you can switch back and forth if you want to. The lease is a true walk-away lease. Once you turn that truck back in, you only owe the damages on the truck and then whatever you still owed. And they'll split that up into different weekly payments. And take that out of your driver's salary as a company driver. And vice versa. If you want to go company to lease, it's just calling the lease department, coming, doing the upgrade, taking the class, and then jumping into a lease, choosing your lease truck. All right, guys. Well, it's right at about 30 minutes. I'm going to take off. And as always, keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down, and your mirrors between the ditches. I'll see y'all later.